everybody. Thanks for tuning in for Vinyassa Yoga today. My name is Erica and I'm with UMBC Recreation. If you're new to this class or have never taken yoga before, this is a Vinyassa based class. So you'll notice that we repeat a lot of movements. They go in a specific order and we often tie that movement in with our breath. I don't expect people to know the names of poses just by me calling them out, so I will talk about alignment, so there's no worry if you've never taken a yoga class before. Although it helps that we repeat a lot of the movements, that way you get a little more familiar and I can give a little less direction as the class goes on. I want to remind everyone to always check with the doctor before you start a new exercise regimen and always listen to your body throughout the class. Take breaks if you need to. You don't have to cue for me to take a break, although there will be scheduled breaks in the class. And if you're practicing a pose and it just doesn't feel right to you, skip it. Nobody knows your body better than you do. Last thing I want to mention for anyone who's new to a yoga class ever, we finish the class with a final resting period. We lay flat on our back or we try our best to remain still with our eyes closed for about 2 to 3 minutes. And the point of that part of the practice is to absorb all the benefits of the body, all the movements we put ourselves through and our body systems through. It gives our body time to process that. And not only that, but it's a time for reflection where we move the practice from the physical body into the subtle body or things that are going on the inside. So if it is your first time, I know it can be a little challenging or feel a little strange to lay on the floor, but I encourage you to stick with it and try it all the way through. Today I'm going to do things a little differently. We're going to start with a little bit of breath work. So you can pop a squat on the floor, take any comfortable seated position, whatever that might mean for you. Legs can be crossed. However you can sit comfortably with your spine long works for me. We're going to take some alternate nostril breathing. This breath might look a little funny, but it is great for reducing blood pressure and balancing our nervous system, sides of our brain, slowing down our heart rate. So options you have for your hands. What I usually do is take my peace fingers, my pointer finger in my middle and place it in between my eyebrows, sort of like an anchor for my hand. We're gonna be breathing or closing one nostril and then the other. So what I'll do is use my thumb to close one side and my other two fingers to close the opposite side. But you can use a finger like this, just for the sake of me having a hand out in front of my face so that you can hear me as I explain. I'm just gonna use fingers on the side. However you can close one nostril and the other, doesn't matter how the hands are. So I'm just gonna talk it through the first time. We're gonna start by closing our right nostril. We're gonna breathe in through the left for a count of 4. Then we're gonna close both nostrils and hold for a count of 4 with nostrils closed. We're gonna exhale out the opposite nostril for a count of 4. Breathe in through that same nostril, close the nostrils, hold for 4, breathe out through the other side for a count of 4. So I'm gonna walk us through it as we go through. Start by closing off your right nostril. Breathe in through the left for 1, 2, 3, 4. Close nostrils and hold for 4. Exhale out through right, 2, 3, 4. Breath in, 2, 3, 4. Hold at top. Close the nostrils. Exhale out through left, 2, 3, 4. Again, breath in, 2, 3, 4. Hold at top. Exhale right, 2, 3, 4. Breath in, 2, 3, 4. Hold at top. Exhale left, 2, 3, 4. Last time in, 2, 3, 4. Hold at top. Exhale right. Breath in, 2, 3, 4. Hold at top. Exhale left, 2, 3, and 4. Lower your chin towards your chest. Place your hands at your sides or on your lap. And take a few rounds of normal breath here, keeping your gaze focused on one spot. Start to roll the shoulders, lifting chin from chest. Nice big exaggerated circles, rolling shoulders up to the ears and down the back. Then reverse direction. And slow down to stillness. Make your way to a standing position, standing at the top of your mat, feet hips width distance apart. Stand nice and tall with purpose. Tall out through the crown of your head, root down through your feet, arms along your sides, palms face forward. Take a few breaths here, nice deep into the chest. As you exhale, imagine the breath moving down the body, rooting you down to the earth. Breath in, breath out. One more time. Take right hand over to left shoulder, press down the shoulder gently, and let head fall to opposite side. Stretching the neck, keeping the spine nice and long, core is slightly engaged. Lift head through center, switch side, left hand crosses over. Lift head through center and lower arms down at your side. Right arm comes up to the ceiling, reach through the tips of the fingers, and give me a slight bend over to the opposite side. Just enough so you can feel the stretch on the right side of the body, feeling and creating some space between the ribs, increasing our lung capacity. Deep breath in as you rise back up to standing. Exhale, lower arm down at your side. Bring left arm up to ceiling, stretch nice and long through the tips of the fingers, root down through the feet, and give me a slight side bend over to the right. Core is engaged here, drawing in towards the spine. Chin lifts from the chest. Deep breath in to lift arm overhead. Exhale to lower arm down at your sides. Again, breath in, arms up, gaze is up. Lower to forward fold, bringing hands together, lowering them down through heart center. Hinging forward from the hips, gently bending knees so belly can drop to the thighs. Let arms and head hang heavy towards the floor. Weight is primarily in the balls of the feet, but heels stay on the floor. Low belly draws in. Hips stay reaching towards the sky. Shake the head yes and no a few times, help relax the neck. And rise to half lift, flattening the back till parallel to floor, hands to shins. Draw shoulders away from ears, gaze is down at the mat. Gently bend one knee and then the other, back and forth, creating a little more sensation through the extended leg, relieving stiffness. Find stillness in your half lift, hands to shins, legs straight. Step your right foot back to lunge, bringing fingertips to floor. Left knee is stacked right over the ankle. And lower the right knee down to the mat and uncurl the toes, tops of foot to mat. Draw the breath in through your nose as you lift both arms overhead. We'll pause and exhale here. Find length through sides of body, out through crown of head. Relax shoulders away from the ears. Take a few cleansing breaths in through nose, out through mouth. Next, exhale, bring the fingertips down to the mat. Tuck the right toes onto the mat, scoot the knee back just an inch or two till you feel a nice stretch on the front side of right thigh. Then shift the hips back to half split, walking the fingertips back, flexing the forward foot, lengthening the spine. The extended leg doesn't have to straighten completely. If the leg feels really tight, you can keep a gentle bend in the knee. Whether the knee is bent or straight, spine stays long, chest reaching forward, gaze is down towards the floor. Shift the hips forward back into lunge, knees stacked over the ankle, hands frame the foot. Heel toe the left foot out to the outer edge of the mat, bringing the hand to the inside. Chest stays forward as we open the hip. If you'd like to create a little more sensation in the left hip, Try flexing the foot, then letting the knee fall out. Try to keep the foot in line with the shin so that you're not tickling the ankle any. Chest stays long, spine stays long. If you let the knee fall out, close it so foot is flat to the mat, and we'll all heel toe our foot back to the center of the mat, bringing your hand back to frame the foot. Tuck right toes onto the mat, lift the knee in the air, lift up to points, tips of fingers, send chest forward, draw belly in. Step up to half lift, hands to shins, back is flat, bend one knee and then the other. If you're pretty flexible in the hamstrings and you want to increase sensation in your half lift, try taking fingertips to floor. If the spine rounds, you know you've taken it too far. This time, step your left foot back into lunge, fingertips frame the foot, lower the knee down to mat and uncurl the toes. Draw breath in through the nose, lift both arms overhead, pause and exhale here, find length through the spine. Relax shoulders away from ears. Couple cleansing breaths in through nose, out through mouth. Right knee stays stacked over the ankle. Next exhale brings fingertips to floor. Tuck left toes onto the mat. Scoot that knee back an inch or two. And send the hips back to half split. Walking fingertips back, flexing forward foot, lengthening the spine. Meet me back in lunge, knees stacked over the ankles. Scoot that left knee in an inch or two, scooting it back in. Heeling toe in the right foot out to the outer edge of the mat, bringing the hand to the inside, sending chest forward. If you took the variation on the opposite side, do the same here, starting by flexing the foot and then opening the hip, letting the knee fall away from the body. So I will offer modifications to make things more difficult, sometimes making them easier. You by no means have to make anything more difficult than we're already doing. Listen to your body and practice for you. If you opened up the hip, bring the foot back flat to mat. We'll all heel toe our foot back to the center of the mat. Hand returns to the outside of the foot. Tuck left toes onto the mat, lift that knee into the air, and step back into a plank position, planting the hands firmly on the mat, then dropping the knees to tabletop. Knees under hips and wrists stacked under shoulders. Round the spine into cat pose, tucking chin to chest, drawing the belly into the spine. Then relax the spine into a neutral position before lifting and arching into cow, letting belly hang to floor, opening the throat, tilting chin up to ceiling. Again, rounding spine, cat pose, chin to chest, lifting and arching to cow. Repeat this movement a few times at your own pace. Maybe closing the eyes, focusing on sensations in the body, being present in your movements, in your practice. Inhaling as you lift and arch, exhaling as you round to cat. Settle into stillness and send the hips back to child's pose all the way down to the heels. Forehead rests on the mat, fingertips reach towards the top of the mat. Separating the knees, making a little space for your belly. And we'll finish our warm-up here with a bit of conscious breathing, bringing your attention to your breath. Noticing the little movements the body makes as you breathe in and as you breathe out. If you're uncomfortable in this pose for any reason, try puppy pose instead as your rest position, returning to tabletop, dropping the elbows down to mat stacked under shoulders and head hangs heavy. Still a rest position, just a little easier on the hips and the knees, totally up to you which one you'd prefer. Take a
few more breaths here. Deepen the breath a little bit. Then meet me back in a tabletop position, wrist stacked under the shoulders. Spread the fingers nice and wide and shift most of the weight into the pointer finger and the thumb. Tuck toes onto the mat, preparing for down dog. Start by lifting the knees off the mat, drawing belly in. Keep the knees bent for now as you send the hips up to the ceiling, pressing the belly back towards the thighs and gazing between the feet. Hollow out the armpits, so slight outer rotation of the upper arms, low bellies drawing in. Taking a few deep breaths here. We're aiming for equal weight in the hands and in the feet. You can try straightening one leg at a time, back and forth, but if you're feeling a lot of sensations here already, keep the knees bent. Everyone look forward, start to shift the weight forward, draw the right knee in towards your chest and step or place the foot into lunge, in between the hands, lifting up to tips of fingers. Knee is stacked over the ankle. Step up to half lift, back is flat, hands to shins. Lower to forward fold, belly drops to thighs, arms and head hang heavy. Tuck your chin in towards your chest, and one vertebrae at a time we'll round our spines until we're in a standing position. Take your time here so we can engage and loosen the muscles around the spine. Once you make it to standing, stand up nice and tall with purpose, palms face forward. Deep breath in through the nose, lift both arms overhead. Exhale, hands together, down through heart center and down at your sides. 2 more times, deep breath in, arms up, gaze up. Exhale, hands together, down at your side. Last time, deep breath in. This time, as we exhale, lower to forward fold, belly meets the thighs. Rise, half lift, flatten your back. Step your right foot back to lunge, fingertips come down to the floor. Lower right knee down to floor, top the foot to mat. Draw the breath in through your nose, lift both arms overhead, nice slow movement, deep breath. Exhale out through the mouth, returning fingertips to the floor. Step back into tabletop, knees stacked under the hips. Lean forward for chaturanga, shoulders past the wrists, then bend the elbows, lowering chest down to the floor, keeping elbows close to body. Chest comes down first and then the hips, tops of feet to mat. Hands under shoulders, elbows up to ceiling. Press hip points into the floor, draw belly in to lift the chest off the mat, baby cobra. Then press to child's pose or puppy pose. Take a breath or two here. Child's pose, hips to heels. Puppy pose, elbows to mat. Slowly rise back to tabletop. Spread your fingers nice and wide. Tuck toes onto the mat. And lift the hips to down dog. Knees lift, belly back to thighs, hips up towards the ceiling, gaze between the feet, pressing firmly into pointer finger and the thumb. Deepening the breath. Maybe playing with straightening one leg at a time. Look forward, shift weight forward, draw left knee in towards your chest, step or place the foot into lunge, lift up to tips of fingers, send the chest forward. Step up to half lift, hands to shins, flatten your back. Lower to forward fold, belly drops to the thighs, and one vertebrae at a time, we'll round our spines up to a standing position. Take your time. On the inhale, bring both arms back overhead. Exhale, return to forward fold. Hands come together, belly drops to thighs, arms and head hang to floor. Rise, half lift, flatten your back. Step your right foot back into lunge and pause here. Bring your hands to your forward thigh and extend the arms overhead into high lunge. Hips are squared towards the front of the mat, left knee stacked right over the ankle. Find length through sides of body and relax shoulders away from ears. Try not to lock out the right leg. Tiny micro bend in the leg so you're engaging the glute, engaging the thigh.
And if you need some ease in that extended leg, you can gently bend the knee. Open to 5-pointed star, facing the right side of your mat, lowering your arms down to shoulder height and turning your face forward, or turning your toes, forward towards the long edge of your mat. Left foot turns to face the front of the mat. Bend the knee into warrior two, stacking it right over the ankle. Hips and shoulders facing long edge of mat. Gaze is out towards the left hand. Breathing here. Strengthening our legs, opening our hips. Pressing firmly into pinky edge of right foot. Straighten the forward leg. Reach towards the front of the mat as you send your hips to the back of the mat and bring the right arm up to the ceiling into triangle. Twisting and lifting the chest up towards the ceiling. Gaze is up towards the ceiling. Left hip tucks under the right. Try not to poke that left hip out behind you. We'll rise up slowly, arms to shoulder height, bending the knee back to warrior two, stacking it over the ankle. Gaze is out towards the left hand. Find reverse warrior, lifting the left arm up to the ceiling, dropping the right arm down, straightening the forward leg for a variation. Engage your core. Return to warrior two, knee bends and windmill the arms down into lunge, lifting right heel off the mat. Step back into a plank position, drop the knees to tabletop. Lean forward, chaturanga, shoulders past the wrists, bend the elbows, close to body, bring chest down and then the hips. Press the hips to the floor, draw belly in, lift the chest, baby cobra, deep breath in. Exhale to your rest position, child's pose, hips to heels, or puppy pose, elbows to mat. Take a few breaths here. Filling up the sides of the body, the back of the body, deepen the breath. On your next inhale, meet back in a tabletop position. Exhale takes you to downward facing dog, hips up to ceiling.
If you're feeling up to trying to straighten both legs, you're more than welcome. Heels pressed down to the mat. Hips are still reaching up towards the ceiling. Low belly's drawing in. If the spine rounds when you're trying to press your heels towards the mat, take it a step back. Bend the knees just a little bit. Deepen the breath, in through nose, out through mouth.
Look forward, step or place your right foot into lunge, lifting up to tips of fingers. Inhale as you step up to half lift, flattening your back. Exhale, forward fold, belly to thighs. See if you can draw your inhale out as you slowly round the spine up to standing, and exhale at the top. Breath in, arms up. Exhale to fold, belly to thighs.
Inhale, half lift.
Exhale as you step your left foot back into lunge and pause here. Hands come to the forward thigh, extend the arms overhead into high lunge, holding here. Couple of deep breaths. Open a 5-pointed star, facing the left side of your mat, lowering arms to shoulder height. Feet are facing long edge of the mat as well. Right foot turns forward towards the front of the mat. Bend the knee into warrior two and hold it here. Nice full breaths. Hips and shoulders are facing the long edge of the mat. Straighten the forward leg, reach to the front of the mat, hips to the back, and find triangle pose. Left arm up to the ceiling, gaze is up to the ceiling, low belly draws in. Few deep breaths into your chest. As you inhale, rise back to standing. As you exhale, return to warrior two, knee bend, stacked over the ankle. Hold it here. Don't hold the breath. Right arm lifts to reverse warrior, straighten the forward leg. Feel that stretch on the side of the body. Next exhale takes you back to warrior two. Windmill the arms down to lunge, left heel lifting off the mat. Step back into a plank position and lower the knees to tabletop. Lean forward, chaturanga, bend the elbows close to body, chest first and then the hips. Inhale, baby cobra, chest lifts. And exhale to your rest position, child's pose or puppy pose. Deepen the breath here. Rise back to a tabletop position. Use your exhale to lift the hips, downward facing dog. It's up to you which variation you take. You can bend the knees can stay bent. You can bend one or the other. Legs can be straight. Make this last down dog whatever you need it to be, but deepen the breath. Step your right foot into lunge. Breathe in as you step up to half lift. Exhale as you lower forward fold. Try to draw the inhale out as you slowly round the spine up to standing. And exhale at the top. Bring your hands together at heart center. Feet or hips width distance apart. Really ground them into the floor, find your stability. Imagine that roots are growing down from the bottom of your feet, rooting you and keeping you stable to the floor. Bend the right knee, lifting up to the tips of the toes, then open the hip, turning the knee out away from the body. For tree pose, this is our option one. If you challenged with your balance a little bit, toes can stay on the floor. Your second option is to bring the bottom of your right foot to opposite calf, or all the way up to the thigh. You can use your hand to get it there. You can skip the knee. Make sure you skip the knee. Whichever position you're in, hip stays open, knee draws back, trying to be in line with the opposite knee. Core is engaged. We're grounded through the roots in our feet. We're finding length out through the crown of your head. Option to challenge your balance, extending the arms overhead. Feel pretty stable and you're like, this is totally easy, maybe try closing your eyes and see how that changes your balance. Wherever we are, deepen the breath just a little bit. If arms were extended overhead, bring them hands together, lower them down to heart center, and we'll all step our right foot flat to the mat. Bend those knees, give that standing leg a break. We were strengthening our left leg, let's switch it over to the right. Ground that right foot back down to the mat. Bend the left knee, lifting up to the tips of the toes, opening the hip, turning knee away from body. Option one, stay right here, or take whatever you did on the opposite side, whether that was calf or thigh. Hip stays open, find length through sides of body. Don't lock out the standing leg. Put a tiny micro bend in the knee so that you're engaging your core. Activate your glute. If you're challenging the balance, arms extend overhead. Maybe you're closing the eyes. If arms are extended overhead, bring the hands together, lower them down to heart center, step left foot down to the floor, bend the knees, give that standing leg a break. 3 deep breaths in through the nose, arms out at your sides, up overhead. Exhale, arms down at your sides, nice and wide. 2, breath in, arms up. Exhale. Last time, breath in. And exhale to forward fold, belly drops to thighs.
We're gonna hang out here in forward fold for a little bit. If you're familiar with other variations of forward fold, you're welcome to take any variation you like. If you'd like to try something a little different, but you're not familiar with variation, I will offer ragdoll, bending the elbows, grabbing on to opposite elbows, helping to create a little more length in the spine. Maybe you find a little bit of a sway side to side, whichever variation you're in. And release your arms, let them hang towards the floor if they're not doing so already. Rise half lift, flatten your back. Step back into a plank position. We'll hold here for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lower all the way down to the belly. Turn your head so you can rest on your cheek. Bring your arms along the sides of the body, palms face up to ceiling, big toes touch and heels fall away from one another. Wiggle the shoulders away from ears. Wiggle the hips side to side, help relieve the low back. And then once you find some stillness, take a deep breath in through your nose. And as you exhale out through your mouth, melt onto the mat. Let everything go. We'll take a short rest period here. Slowly turn your head to the opposite side. Bring your chin to the mat, place your hands back underneath the shoulders, and press yourself into your rest position for one final time. And I'll ask you again that you bring your attention to your breath. Don't change the natural pattern of your breath. Just follow the natural inhales and exhales of your body. Allow each exhale to relieve a little more tension, particularly around the face and the brow area. As you inhale, rise back to tabletop and close the eyes. Round the spine to cat pose, keeping the eyes closed, then lifting and arching to cow. Take a few cat-cows at your own pace with eyes closed, focusing on the movement in the body. Inhaling to lift and arch, exhaling to round. Then finding stillness in your tabletop position, gently opening the eyes. Cross the ankles and the hips down to a seated position and let the legs come forward. Extend the legs down the length of your mat, then gently bend the knees. Lift both arms overhead, ground your sits bones into the floor, find length through the sides of the body, then hinge forward at the hips into seated forward fold, belly to thighs, hands fall wherever comfortable, gaze is down towards the legs. On every inhale, lengthen the spine a little more. On the exhale, see if belly comes closer to thighs. So if you're a little more flexible, the legs can straighten a bit, just as long as you still have contact of belly to thigh.
Don't want the spine to round here. And the opposite works as well. If you need a little less sensation, bend the knees a little bit more. And take a few more full rounds of breath here. Slowly lift the spine into an upright position. Bend the knees so feet are planted on the mat. Hands placed on the back of the thighs. Sits bones ground down to the floor. Find length through the spine. Draw belly in. Walk the toes a little closer in towards the body. We're engaging our core here. You can hold here. If you like a little more challenge, float the feet off the mat. Heels in line with the knees. Spine stays long. Chest is still sending forward. Not holding the breath, just holding the pose. If you raise the feet, lower them back down to the mat and take a look down at your mat. If you're not sitting in the center of your mat, make your way there now. Hands are still in the back of the thighs. Round the spine like you were punched in the gut. Draw the belly in nice and tight and maintain control as you slowly roll down onto your back, drawing everything in towards the spine. Once your head touches the floor, let the body go. Lay flat on the mat. Take a breath or two here. Draw both knees in towards the chest, feet side by side. Interlace the fingers, hold below the knees, and draw thighs close to the body. Pressing low back to the mat, pressing shoulders to the mat, and gently tucking chin in towards the chest. Gently rocking side to side. Find stillness. Place hands on the back side of your thighs and extend the legs up to the ceiling into our inversion. Heels lined up about over the hips. And we'll stay here for about 40 seconds or so. This is a variation of legs up the wall. In all inversions, we get fresh, oxygenated blood towards our heads. In this pose, we're helping to slow down our body systems, calm our nervous system, induce relaxation. Preparing for our final resting pose. Draw the knees all the way into the body, lowering heels down towards the glutes. Place your arms along the floor at shoulder height, palms face up. Let the knees fall to the right end to recline spinal twist as head turns to the left. If you feel any pinching here, lower the knees away from the hand. Because this is our last pose before our final resting pose, it is the perfect time to close your eyes, sort of cancel out one of your senses, and start to turn our focus inward. Yoga isn't just about physical movement and stretching our body. It's also about getting our mind right and our thoughts right and being better versions of ourselves. Slowly draw the knees back to the center of the body. Then let the knees fall over to the left and head turns to the right.
Slowly draw the knees back to the center of your body, interlacing fingers, placing hands below the knees, drawing thighs close to the body once again. Lift your head to meet your knees. Take a deep breath in through your nose. Hold the breath at the top. Hold yourself in a tiny little ball. Close the eyes, and as you exhale, let go of your holds on the body so you can lay flat on the mat. Separate your legs and arms nice and wide. Let the toes fall away from one another, palms face up. Focus comes back to the breath. Give me another deep breath in through your nose. And as you exhale out through your mouth, let everything go onto the mat. Every exhale, your body hangs a little heavier onto your mat. And know that with every continuous inhale and exhale, we rejuvenate our body, bringing in energy, a life force to our body on the inhale, and as we exhale, we're releasing and getting rid of things in our body that no longer serves us. Every exhale relieves a little more tension from the body, a little more stress from our minds. Focus stays on the inhale and the exhale. And let all and any thoughts come and go as they please. Start to deepen your breath. Begin to wiggle your fingers, start to wiggle your toes. Welcome movement back to your body. Gently roll over to the right side of your body, taking a moment of stillness on your side, maybe using your arm to support your head like a pillow. And whenever you're ready, keeping your eyes closed or your gaze lower to the floor, slowly press yourself up into any comfortable seated position. It's okay if you're not quite in a seated position yet, just keep your ear open so you know where we're headed. As always, to finish class, we take 3 cleansing breaths together as one, breathing in through the nose, exhaling out through the mouth. Today we're adding movement to our breath. As we exhale, we'll round our spine, dropping chin to chest. As we inhale, we'll lift and arch the spine, tilting head up towards the ceiling. So that we're all together, let's start on an exhale, rounding spine, pressing all the breath we have out of the body. Breathing into the belly as we lift and arch the spine, moving the breath up into the chest, into the throat, tilting the head up to the ceiling. Exhaling out through the mouth, nice and slowly as we round the spine and return chin to chest. Breathing in for 2, lifting, arching, inhaling. Exhaling, rounding the spine, chin returns to chest. Last time, breathing in, nice deep breath, as deep as you can breathe. And exhaling as slowly and fully as you can as the spine rounds and chin finds the chest.
Resume your natural pattern of breath and find a neutral position with your spine.
Take a second to thank your body and thank yourself for taking this time out of your day for a practice. I'd like to thank you for letting me lead you on this practice. There is a light that exists within me that honors and respects the light that exists within each and every one of you. Thanks for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this class just as much as I enjoyed teaching it. If you did, there's a new version of this class that is aired every week. If you're looking for something a little more challenging, but you like my style, I also teach a core yoga class. So it's structured much like this class. However, some of the poses I cut out and I replace them with core targeting exercises, as well as yoga exercises that target the core as well. We have lots of classes to offer, not just yoga. Try the classes out. Let us know what you think. And I hope to see you guys next time. Thanks again.